welcome to Vicky Makes and Builds. I'm very excited because I am back building the wildlife puzzle. So excited! And as I promised ages ago now, seems like ages ago, I am going to do another mixed section video or 2 videos on this. So I'm mixing 2 bags. I will not mix more than 2 bags. I did consider it very briefly at one time, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just mix the 2. I believe I did that with section 2 and 3. So this will be section 6 and 7 mixed because I have already built sections 1 through to 5. So this is going to be section 6 and 7. So what I'm going to do, I've got the bags out, as you can see. Found the right ones, worked out all the coding and everything. But before I mix them, I just want to have a wee look at the image that these 2 bags cover on the puzzle. So I've folded the poster onto the right bit. You may remember the previous one had that lovely orangutan at the top hanging in the trees. It had a couple of hippos at the bottom and a little bit of that alligator or crocodile, I'm not sure which it is. So moving on from that, we've got section 6, which is the rest of that alligator. There's a couple more flamingos, they're quite big at the bottom, couple more hippos. What really dominates is these elephants on this bit of the image, and then there's some bits of kind of tree hanging down at the top, but not actually very much foliage really at the top of this bit. I'm really kind of in the center of the puzzle with this section, and so it's probably the most open area, that section 6. You've got a monkey hanging in the tree there. There's lots of birds and butterflies as usual. There's water, and there's a lovely rainbow as well in this section. So that's that. And then next door to that, section 7, we've got more orangutans sitting in the tree, another one hanging just there. We've got lovely big parrots, some lovely tropical birds flying around. There's more elephants, not quite as big as on section 6, but still quite big, and a really big rhino at the front with a little baby next to it. Not as much water in this one. The flamingos are kind of in the background, and a lot of it's obscured because of that rhino. There is some greenery at the bottom, but section 7 is where it's now starting to kind of close up again. The foliage starts to come in again. So there's a little bit more foliage at the top and bottom in 7 than in 6. But as a whole, I think the image is quite nicely balanced with stuff, with background, with flying creatures, with creatures at the bottom, in the center, water, sky, all of that stuff. So I am hopeful that this won't be too bad a double section to mix. I think moving into sections 8 and 9 would have been way too much green. I mean, just looking at them, turning the page, you are really, really back into the green areas with that. So I think these are feasibly the last 2 I could probably have mixed without driving myself insane. So that is the image that I will be covering, or the part of the image that I'll be covering with these 2 bags. So I guess really the first thing I need to do is mix them. Now, I remember the last time I mixed 2 bags of wildlife, I was very reluctant, and I stood for a long time hovering over the pieces in front of me and not wanting to put my hands together. But I did, and now I don't feel quite so nervous this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the bags and pour them out, and then I'm going to alter the camera angle slightly so you can see more the pieces. But I'll open the bags. Oh, it's happening, it's happening. I'm so excited. Okay. Out it comes. Oh, Lord. Oh, so many pieces. So 2 bags of pieces would be, so it's 3,360 per bag. So it would be 6,720 pieces that I'm about to build. 6,720. It's a lot of pieces. Right. I now have 2 separate piles. They are not mixed yet, but they will be. Right, I'll change the camera angle. Bear with me. Here goes. Oh, it's very satisfying doing it on my big board because I have loads of space. And I know they're not gonna fall off the table. Oh, there's lots of dust. There's lots of dust. Oh man, look how many pieces there are in here. Ah, there's so many. Oh, but I am so glad to be coming back to this puzzle though. I really am. I just can't wait to see these sections done and added on to the rest of the puzzle. Oh, it's going to be so good. Oh, I'm enjoying this. Wow. Oh. Okay. So you may have noticed that my board is now white. I have actually covered it. It's not a new board, I've covered it. I got some rolls of like vinyl and I covered it and I'm really pleased. There's like 3 rows of it and it's gone down really nice. So I'm looking forward to building this purely on the white background because the board's brilliant, but it's just that horrible kind of dingy browny colour and I really wanted a white background. So now to build this on there, it's going to look really, really nice, I hope, under the camera. So that answers that question in case you were wondering. I was also just going to say that I will start sorting this puzzle. I'm going away on my holiday in like just over a week. So, you know, there's no way I'm getting it finished before then. But I really just wanted to get this opened up and started. I can't wait to get back to this. I really can't. So I'm going to be spending this week, apart from preparing for my holiday, I'm going to be spending this week sorting this puzzle and just getting really excited to build it. So I hope you're excited too. Enjoy! This video is sponsored by Serious Readers, the lighting company. A Serious HD light has completely improved my puzzling experience. Because their bulbs replicate the daylight spectrum, they are just perfect for things like puzzling or any hobby that requires attention to detail and great colour perception. You can bend them, brighten them, raise them, make them more intense, go cordless. They are so versatile and they've got you covered whenever and wherever you love to puzzle. I wouldn't be without my Serious HD light when I'm leisure puzzling now. It really helps me puzzle in comfort with no strain on my eyes. So I'm happy to be able to offer you £100 off a Serious HD light today, plus free UK shipping. All you do to get that is click on the link in my description below, and when you're done choosing your light, just enter the discount code Vicky24. And what's more, Serious are giving away 3 of their lights, including a top prize of one of their HD lights. To be in with a chance of winning one of those, just click the link in the pinned comment, fill out your email and pick your hobby, and that's it. So now, let's get into wildlife. Okay, that is me. I've put a few piles together. We've got the flamingos there. We've got the giraffes and zebra and a leopard there. We've got a smaller, kind of more background giraffe there. We've got a snake up at the top. And we've got the top and the bottom edges there. So just starting my focus on the flamingos, because these took me the longest to do. There are a lot of pieces here. The pile was pretty big, but I just kind of spread them all out and started getting going. I think I probably could have done it quicker if I'd have been more organized, perhaps done a little bit of shape sorting, but I keep getting bamboozled by the scale of this puzzle in comparison to the poster, which is just tiny. And I do remember this from doing other sections, but it's been a long time since I've worked on this puzzle, and it's kind of once again stumbling me a bit, because I'm sort of doing areas of the puzzle and thinking, oh yeah, that's quite small, and then putting it together and realizing it's not, it's actually really big. And these flamingos were no exception. These are quite big, these two here, and then there's a couple more in the background there. That's these two here, they're quite big too. And another area I found that with as well were these giraffe pieces. You know, because they're sort of background here, you just think, yeah, they're quite small. That's a small pile. They won't take long. But, you know, then it turns out they're really big too. So that is something I'm going to have to kind of get used to again. By and large, though, having said all of that, these piles have come together pretty well. There's been not really any confusion as to what pieces they belong to. I knew pretty much that they were giraffes, knew that they were zebras, knew that was the snake, although there was a little bit of mixed up sorting between that snake and this leopard here, particularly its leg, because of, you know, the yellow with the black spots, just the same pattern. But that was easy to remedy because I was doing those piles at the same time. So these were good piles to start with, and with, you know, minimal mis-sorting that had happened. I do have an edge piece missing from the top. That's obviously got mis-sorted somewhere. I will find that. The bottom edge is complete. And what I've also done is I've kept handy these pieces, which are these shaped ones that make up the internal kind of borders of the puzzle that separate out the different repeat cuts. I've kept those handy because I knew that, for example, there were some flamingo pieces among them, so I put together a wee line of them there, and at the top here there's a wee line of them. So they are ones I'm going to dip in and out of as and when I need them. I suspect I will come back to them when I do my next couple of piles, which I think are going to be this pile here, which is all of the birds and bugs. And at the same time, or possibly first, I'm going to work on this pile here, which is the alligator. Now, I'm more tempted to do the alligator first because it's a smaller pile. This is a large pile of pieces. There are a lot of birds and a lot of bugs flying around. And I want to do them because they'll fill out the top section quite a lot, and they'll really cut down on a whole bunch of pieces, but I think they're going to take a while. And I think I'll also find some pieces in there that belong to these flamingos. I've got some missing here. I've got some missing off this bird here. So I'm hoping I can fill those out a little more with them. So they are ones I am going to work on. They'll take me a while, but I would like to do that alligator because the alligator is behind these flamingos, and I really think that that's going to just gel that section together quite a lot. Really, it will take up, of these two sections I'm doing, it'll take up quite a lot of this bottom left corner. So, and I was wondering whether or not to separate the alligator because the colouring in the alligator is very similar to the colouring on some of these elephants. But the alligator has a different texture. It's kind of rougher. There's a lot more lines on it. And I think although there might be a little bit of missorting with the trunk of the elephant, possibly, I think that I have done a pretty decent sort on that alligator with those pieces. I mean, time will tell. I could be completely wrong about that. But I'm tempted to give that a go. And any leftovers I get, I will put on a piece of paper. I've done that with the zebra and giraffe pieces, and I've also done that with the flamingo pieces, or what I thought were flamingo pieces. I did find some among the flamingo pieces that actually belong to birds. Those bits there belong to the parrot that's flying about, and there was a big orange butterfly, which I think might be, here it is. There was a big orange butterfly that I thought was flamingo as well. So that's my logical next step, I think. I'm going to do the alligator pieces and I'm going to do the birds and bugs. And yeah, that I think might take me quite a while. But thinking after that, maybe these sky pieces would be a good way to go. Get that gradient sorted in this top left corner, that lovely rainbow. That might actually help to gel together some of these birds as well. And, avoid floatiness that always occurs with this puzzle when I start doing the bugs and things. But we'll see. And then I'll just keep chopping in and out of that pile because I'll probably come across some of those up here, especially where this parrot is here. And, there's a bit that goes through that butterfly as well. So they might help to kind of start to bring the puzzle together a wee bit too. On with the alligator now. All right, so we progress report here. I've got a fair bit of the sky filled out, and that's been good because it has basically attached the top right down to this parrot and right down here, which is roughly halfway through the puzzle. I've managed to get a good chunk of the sky done around where the snake is too, although I've not been able to attach that yet. There are still quite a lot of sky pieces left. I've got the leftovers on a board, but I was just slowing down so much. There were just so many that it felt a little bit counterproductive just staring at the pieces and trying to get them in. So I have put them to one side with the other leftovers, and I decided then to fill out these internal border pieces. So it looks a little bit odd and grid-like now because there's a big long line going across, but that parrot is attached. And down here, some of those pieces have attached to the giraffes and the zebras. See the top of an elephant's head here. Another bit of an elephant here. I've not finished it completely. These pieces here where there's gaps are just kind of generic green ones. So I thought, well, I'll leave them till later on. This line of pieces is completely finished. So that attaches to the top of these flamingos and goes through those flamingos, and that bit there is where the rhino is. Now, the good thing about doing those internal borders and separating them that way is that it helps me to build out from them, but also it helps to give me a perspective of where things are. So I know, for example, that this line here is like the middle of the puzzle. And so I can now get these little floaty bits, butterflies, bits of bird and things, and I know, that it's somewhere in this kind of quadrant. It's not lower down or higher up. So it's a better kind of, it's on a better kind of scale now. And I can obviously work out from these areas now as well. So I'm pleased I've done that. I was a little bit stumped as to what to do next because I don't have small piles, really. I have large piles of pieces, but what I do have are piles that are that can be sorted further. So what I thought I would do is the water pieces, which are mostly at the bottom but do come quite far up, about halfway up. So I will show you the water pieces. It's quite a big pile, as you can see, but it's not humongous. It's not the biggest I've got. But the thing I like about the water pieces is that the water is lots of different colours. So if we look at the bottom of the puzzle, the water's kind of in shadow here. So it's very sort of purple in colour, and it's like that all the way up here. So I think I could pick out and sort out purple areas of water and fill in these gaps here. And another good thing about the water section is that it's full of stuff. Not just the animals, but you've got lily pads, you've got flowers, you've got little splashes, there's butterflies, there's some dragonflies flying around, lily pads going kind of all the way up here. It turns just a little more green here, but I think that if I go through a finer sort on these pieces, I can really fill out a lot of that water, particularly in this bottom quadrant. And that will help, I think, to again just gel it together a bit, get some things attached, maybe start to get an outline for these hippos, the elephants, the rhino. And I don't know if I'm going to touch those pieces quite yet, but once I have done that, I might have hopefully a better idea of where I want to go next with it. So we'll do a little bit more sorting, and then we'll work on this bottom quadrant and fill out this water section. Alright, so I really have made some progress at the top of the puzzle here, but I have spent a long time chopping and changing between piles of pieces, and it's just been it's been a bit of a faff really, because I've been doing a lot of kind of leftover pieces, but whilst I've been doing that, I've been digging into other piles of pieces, like for example the dark coloured pieces, looking for bits of vine and birds' wings and things like that. I also delved into the light grey pieces, looking for wee bits in this area as well, particularly with the birds. And I just found, because there's such a lot of features next to each other, you've got the red and pink flowers right next to the vines, right next to the sky, beside this orangutan, you've got the birds and stuff up here. It was just really, I mean, there's birds all over the puzzle, so there's several here that I've managed to build up. They're obviously on that side as well as this side. There's even a couple down here as well in the water area. I was just getting up and going backwards and forwards around the table, dipping in and out of different pieces. So what I ended up doing was I ended up just amalgamating all the leftovers that belong to the top of the puzzle. So not the water pieces. I pretty much got rid of all the leftover bird and bug pieces. There's only a few of those left. Really what I'm talking about are the tree and vine pieces, the sky pieces, and also the red and pink flowers. I put them all together and I shape sorted them. So it's a big board. There are quite a lot of pieces because this is like 3 piles of pieces here, but they wouldn't have fit on before because there were too many pieces. So, I mean, I have obviously got rid of quite a lot, but I'm just reaching the point now where I'm just kind of staring at pieces for quite a long time, and I'm ready just to move to another bit, like to move on to another pile. So I'm gonna put these back down with the leftovers, and I will definitely come back to them because the next bit I plan on working on is these pieces here, which are all the light grey pieces, and they make up this area of the puzzle here where there's kind of background mountains and things, and it kind of gradually blends into the sky just there. And it's a relatively big section. There's a fair few pieces here, but it's not piled high. It's kind of a single layer on the bottom of this box. So I think if I shape sort these, try and get those down to as few as possible, really try and fill a lot of this out. And what I would love to do as well is get a lot of these floating areas attached to something. So if I could just make it so that these birds here, for example, are attached to the main puzzle, so it's just not quite so just bitty and floaty, really. It's starting to frustrate me, because every time I have a board on the table or a box or something, they get shifted around. So not only that, but I think there's just about enough pieces here where if I can get them all or mostly in, I'll be about halfway there. I did do a very rough count up, and I am about 600 pieces off being halfway. So I really think I can just focus on the top of this puzzle again, mostly this area here with these grey pieces. I will shape sort and try and plug as many in as I can. May end up with some back and forth with these tree pieces. There's still some vines that kind of come down quite far, and little pieces with like little bits of bird on and things like that I'm sure I'll find as well. So I'm hoping this will really fill this out and make it kind of gel together a little bit better. But pleased with it though, so far, very pleased with it. It's just, I think because it's a double section, it's just a very bitty way of puzzling. It gets a bit arduous at times, but I am getting there. So I'm going to delve into these next with a little bit of turn and throwing from this leftovers pile here. Okay, I will wrap this up at around this point, as I think I am now roughly halfway through the section. It's hard to tell, but I think I've popped in enough pieces since my last count up to be fairly certain. And if it's not halfway there, then it's close. So I think this section so far has been a real process of refamiliarization for me. It's been a while since I last worked on section 5 of this puzzle, and there are things cropping up again that are, you know, tripping me up all over again. Just things like the scale difference from the poster. I really think that this poster is too small. There were things that I was building that I just couldn't even see in spite of staring at the poster for ages and ages. Like, I ended up thinking, does this even exist in the image? Like, there's a giraffe that's a case in point of this. A little tiny giraffe in the middle that I just thought was with the rest of the giraffes, and then when it wasn't going in everywhere, I was like, where is this? Does it even exist in the image? And then again, there was a bird. I was building a bird, and I was like, I've no idea where this bird is. It's not at the top, it's not flying around. The background makes it look as though it's down at the water, but I've not seen this bird in the water. And then, you know, it just took ages with me, like really squinting at the poster trying to figure out where it was, and it turned out to be next to the giraffe, which was like, and I just thought it was a clump of grass. Now, it could just be my eyes going dodgy, but I don't think it's entirely that. I just think the poster's just too small. So there's that, but also the fact that I'm doing a double section reminded me of just how large certain areas in the puzzle are. They would feel more manageable in a single section, but, you know, become a bit of a slog when you're doing kind of double the size. So the light grey area at the top, that was kind of like that. I was like, oh, this is taking ages. And I think, you know, it's partially just because I was building it right across the top rather than just in one section, which would have been a bit more manageable. But I don't want to dwell on negatives. I have been so happy to get back to this puzzle. I've really, really been enjoying it. It still staggers me how beautiful this puzzle is. And after a day's puzzling, I often just stand and just stare at it because there's just so much, and the colours are so lovely, and the artwork, it's just stunning. It really is a stunning puzzle. So, just by way of a summary of what I've done, all the obvious piles are pretty much in, bar a few leftovers. And considering the amount of pieces in these two sections, I don't think my leftover pile is too big. The flamingos, the alligator, some areas of water, the giraffes and the zebras, the birds and bugs, and a good bit of foliage and sky at the top of the puzzle are now in and done. And I'm now at the point where I'm going to have to move things along in part 2 and bite the bullet with my two largest piles of pieces, which are the greens, which is normal for this puzzle, and the big animals at the bottom, the elephants, the rhinos, the hippos. I actually think that I don't know which pile of pieces is bigger in this case. They both look like a really similar size. This is one of those cases where the green pile is actually, you know, may have been beaten by another pile of pieces. But I think that's partially because I've just lumped them all together and they're so big at the bottom of the puzzle. I definitely think the green is sortable. I will probably tackle those by separating out pieces that I know are going to go at the top and pieces that I know are going to go at the bottom here, and then there'll be a whole bunch of pieces where it's just this kind of just light green background tree bit in the middle. In fact, I suspect that's going to be last in the puzzle and probably going to require quite a lot of shape sorting and testing pieces and things. As far as the elephants and things go, I'm not certain how sortable they are. They are, the reason that that's such a big pile of pieces is because all of those animals are really similar brownish, greyish colours. And it was hard to distinguish what was from what animal, hippos included, and in some cases the alligator as well. So I don't know how easy they're going to be to sort, but there are a few differentiating factors. You've got the elephant's trunks that have got quite a distinctive texture with the lines going across them. You've got the big elephant on the left-hand side, actually on its left side is kind of green in colour. It's got kind of a green hue to it. So I think that might be okay to pick out, but I don't know. I think the proof's going to be in the puzzling on that one. I just hope that I can sort it enough that I'm able to at least distinguish which animal is which. I don't know. I guess we'll see. That is all for part 2 anyway, so I'll leave it for then. I want to thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this part 1 of my double section video on wildlife. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. I love reading all your comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then please do consider subscribing. And if you love this, then maybe you'd love to see even more content over in my members area. There is a link to join in the description below. I post regular updates over there on my big builds, with bonus behind the scene build footage as well. So if that's something you're interested in, you could join Vicky Makes and Builds if you wanted to do that. Thank you so much to all of my existing members. I really do appreciate all of your extra support. And that leaves me just to say happy puzzling, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.